What is going on, guys? I am the FD Guru, bringing to you guys a Thursday NBA edition of my DFS podcast. We have a 6-game main slate, a decent amount of games, not as many games as we're used to seeing lately, but still a nice slate here. We have Thursday Night Football as well, with a Derrick Henry, no Derrick Henry for the Titans most likely, so that'll make things interesting. We got some very key questionable guys tonight. RJ Barrett is out, so that's going to open things up. Just like this video, make sure you are subscribed. Last night, ran into some bad luck once again. Killian Hayes at the end of the first half threw a sucker punch to the back of Mo Wagner's head. If you play UFC lineups, we should have got some significant strike points on Killian Hayes at least before he got ejected. But that was a cheap shot. I didn't even think what Mo Wagner did, going out of bounds like that, kind of pushing him. I didn't think that was egregious in any way. I think Killian Hayes was a bit of a bitch to overreact like that. That was a complete cheap shot. Even a strike like that is illegal in UFC. No shots to the back of the head. So he's going to be out for a while probably. And, good, because he fucked us, honestly. We probably would have swept if he played that second half. We probably would have swept all three lineups in cash games at least, but the cash team hit 50-50s easily in double ups just because we didn't have Killian Hayes on the cash team. But new night tonight. Let's try to avoid all that unluckiness, and let's get right into things here. We have the greatest game to pick from tonight is definitely the Thunder and Hornets, a 241 over-under tight spread. We want to get as much exposure to this game as possible. There are no injury news as of right now that we need to wait on. Pokusevski's out. That's going to open up a little bit of Thunder value. But LaMelo Ball at 9,000, he is a must-play on a smaller 6-game slate tonight. Biggest over-under. He has 50 to 60 point upside here tonight. Even on his bad nights, he's probably going to get around 40 fantasy points. He was a bit of a letdown against Golden State. But, the guy's human. He still had a ton of exposure, to the offense, obviously. A lot of usage. He's going to get you over 20 points most likely, and he's going to fill up the stat sheet. So, in this matchup against the Thunder, I would not be surprised if LaMelo Ball has a massive game for 50 plus. 9,000 is still too cheap on him. He should be 9,500 to 10,000. At this point, he should be around the same price as, SGA and Halliburton. And speaking of Halliburton, the questionable guys, we'll talk about that. Tyrese Halliburton is questionable. That's some big news. This slate is very unique because the last game is at 8:30 Eastern. We have no later games. We don't see this very often. So hopefully, in an ideal world, we get all of the injury news before lock. But we'll have to see. Usually, we don't get too lucky with that. But Halliburton's questionable. Fred VanVleet is questionable. Kelly Oubre is doubtful. So that will definitely impact the Hornets. Jalen Brunson is questionable, but RJ Barrett is out. So there's still some good guys on the Knicks. I'll get into that with my next play with quickly. And then the Spurs. God, Popovich can be, really tough with this news. So Vassell and Keldon Johnson are both questionable. So that is, a big deal. Hopefully we get that news. Crossing my fingers, but certainly not, banking on that with any sort of trust. So shooting guard, Emmanuel Quickley should start. Whether Brunson plays or not, he should start for RJ Barrett. We saw him have a ton of usage. I mean, they did go into overtime. That game was we have plenty of NBA left in the season, but you got to think that Mavericks and Knicks game is going to go down as the best game of the year. Doncic putting up 105 points. These guys were playing ridiculous minutes. Quickly played 45 minutes in regulation. He sat for 3 minutes. I don't think he sat the entire second half. I did not pick him because we did not get that Brunson news before lock. But his usage will go down if Brunson does play. His assist numbers will definitely not be around 15. But he's still going to fall into that RJ Barrett role. So at 6,000, he can get 30 fantasy points. Obviously, if Brunson is out, that's going to make Quickley a fantastic play. Even if Brunson is in you can still play quickly in the absence of RJ Barrett. I'm hoping with the 8 o'clock game that we get that Brunson news, but last game the Brunson news came down to the wire, so I'm not too optimistic on it, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens. Small forward, I mentioned Kelly Oubre is doubtful. Gordon Hayward's going to step into this starting lineup. I don't know if he's even been starting for them. I think he has been. Oubre's been coming off the bench, but he's going to see some extra usage. He sees mid-30s in minutes every night. And again, this Thunder and Hornets game there's really no argument that this is the best game to pick from tonight. It's going to see a ton of points. Hayward at 6,300 needs 30 to 31 fantasy points for value. He's been consistent, but not hitting value. Maybe on a smaller slate like tonight, you want that floor of 25 fantasy points from Hayward. With Oubre off the court as well, his usage should go up a little bit. He should have a decent chance at getting towards 30 fantasy points. He's projecting out really well in this matchup with Kelly Oubre most likely not playing. Power forward, it's basically word for word the same thing with Randall as it is for Quickley. If Brunson is out, Randall looks like a fantastic play. If Brunson is in, Randall is still a good play. Because with no RJ Barrett on the court, there's plenty of usage going around. 9,500, this guy's been balling out. His hit value in the last 4 games, mid-50s in the last 3 games, went absolutely nuts against the Mavericks. 29 and 18. Did get the extra 5 minutes for overtime, but regardless, Randall's looking like the best, front court guy to spend up for at power forward or center. It's going to be tough to spend up on all these guys. There's not a ton of cheap value because I also really like SGA in that Thunder and Hornets game, and we have Doncic against the Rockets tonight. So the studs, man, they're really intriguing tonight all over the place. There's just not a lot of cheap value out there right now, so we'll have to see what happens. But Randall's a guy that should be on your radar at 9,500 against the Spurs. He should be able to crush San Antonio. And then for center, it's by no means a lock, but with Pokusevski out, we saw Mike Muscala play 21 minutes and get more usage in his absence. I wouldn't be surprised if he finds himself in the starting lineup tonight as the center against the Hornets. The Hornets don't really play too big. Mason Plumlee as their center isn't like a true center. He moves quick, and I think Muscala might find his way into this starting lineup because Darius Bazley is more of a power forward. I don't see them starting anyone else but Muscala at center because James Robinson Earl is also out for the Thunder. I would like to project him for like 22 to 25 minutes. And in this game environment, it's a really good sub 4,000 play. It's no coincidence that he ended up having a great game with Pokusevski being out. 21 minutes, 35 fantasy points. He needs just 20 to hit value tonight. And like I was saying earlier, there's not a ton of cheap value out there tonight. Hopefully things open up. But right now, Muscala is looking like the best sub $4,000 player. That'll do it for this video, guys. Drop a like. Let's have a big night. Avoid that bullshit. And have a nice Thursday night football single game slate as well. Until next time, I am the FD Guru, and I'm signing off. See ya.